Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Idha nandati pecha nandati kata punyo bhayatta nandati punyang me katanti nandati bhiyo nandati suggating gatoti. Venerable Chief Nayaka Hamdaro, Venerable Sirs, friends and children in the Dhamma, welcome for our Saturday regular Dhamma talks. Today we are continuing the twins, the first chapter of the Dhammapada, and we are approaching to the finale of the first chapter called the Twin versus Yamaka Vagga. Now here in this particular stanza there are valuable materials of Dhamma presented. So let's try our best to clarify those teachings of the Buddha embedded in this stanza. Now in Buddhism there are two types of aging, spiritually and chronologically, physically. Physically we all get old in spite of being active or inactive, being educated or not, being wise or foolish, in spite of any differences. In spite of all the differences, we are all getting old, physically getting old. No one in this ancient history of humanity could ever stop this physical aging or the growth that happens physically. So nothing is special in the chronological or physical aging. We are getting old, getting closer to our departure. Day by day it is happening. But what is unusual, what is rare, is someone to be spiritually grown. Spiritual growth that happened in our consciousness, in virtues, in ethics, in morality, in beautiful qualities. That is something rare to observe, rare to witness. Bodhisattva, Buddha to be, when he was just born, the legend says that as soon as he was born, he took 7 steps on lotuses, and on the 7th step, he uttered this stanza. He says, Aggo hamasmi lokassa. I am the greatest in the world. Jetto hamasmi lokassa. I am the eldest in the world. Setto hamasmi lokassa. I am the noblest in the world. Ayamantima jati natti dani punabhavo. This is my last birth. There won't be a rebirth for me. This was his utterance, kind of predicting his future that happened as soon as the Bodhisattva was born. This is a legend, but there is something significant hidden in this utterance. That he said, I am the eldest in the world. Now he was just born, an infant. How can he say that he is the eldest in the world? Because he is not talking about his physical age. Physically he is just an infant. But spiritually, his growth is far greater, far higher than anybody in the world. That is why he says, I am the greatest in the world. So in Buddhism, it is obvious that the physical age is not relevant. What is relevant, what is important is our spiritual age and the growth. Spiritually, the common factor is that we are stuck, that we stop growing by the time of 14 or 15. Beyond that, there will be no growth spiritually. Unless one meditates, unless one develops his mind via meditation. Meditation is the way one to develop his spirituality. There is no other way. And the byproducts of meditation is compassion, unconditional love, patience, understanding, and the wisdom. Everything grows on their own with the help of meditation. Without meditation, though you learn about compassion, at the moments that the compassion must be awakened, can be in dormant. At the moments that everybody gets cruel, wicked, angry, disastrous, at the moments when everybody is angry, jealous, can you be compassionate and loving? Or if you are also just the same as they are, no matter how much you learn about compassion or love, it is not in your system. So at the moments when everybody else is in the unwholesome, negative states, can you be in the positive, wholesome states? Then there is a growth in you. It shows your growth that has happened in spirituality. Or else it is just the same. This spiritual growth is what matters. And the real spiritual growth is on the supra-mundane path. On the path to go beyond the mundane, beyond the world, beyond the cycle of birth and death. That is the path. That is the real spirituality. And in Buddhism, someone's age is decided based on the development, based on the attainment of these stages, of the stages of supramundane. There are 4 stages. They are called Sotapanna in Pali, in Buddha's language, In English, it is stream entry, yeah, or the first convention. Then the second stage, Sakadagami, once returner, who returns to the realms of sensual pleasures once more. That is why he is called once returner. Now he is closer to go beyond this cycle of suffering. Then the third one is non-returner, Anagami. Anagami, non-returner, he will never return to the realms of sense pleasures. That is why he is called non-returner. Then the last one is Arahant, the enlightened one. Arihat is Arahant. Arihat, Ari is the enemy of defilements. The enemies that binds one to the cycle of birth and death are the real enemies, are the enemies of Nibbana, are the friends of Sansara. These enemies of Nibbana must be destroyed. Hatha, destroy. So Arahant literally means one who has destroyed the enemies of Nibbana, the friends of cycle of suffering. If somebody has attained to the second stage, that is once returner, he doesn't matter whether physically younger to the others. He is older to the ones who have attained to the first convention or stream entry. And those who have attained to the Arahant stage of Arahanthood, he is the eldest of all the humanity, who is behind in spiritual growth, who is in the world, who belongs to the world. He is the eldest. So in Buddhism, the spiritual age based on the spiritual development, and that is the real age. Physical age is not that important, that counts in Buddhism. Spiritual age is what matters. Now keeping this in mind, let's move to the background story of the current stanza that we are discussing today. It is about the daughter of Anathapindika, Buddha's foremost benefactor, Buddha's first or the number one supporter. He was called Sudatta, his name given at birth, but he had this famous nickname Anathapindika, the one who feed the destitute, one who feed the homeless. Because he was a millionaire, a rich man, ultra rich man in the city called Sravati. Today that Sravati is called Sahet, Mahet. In the city of Sravati, this millionaire was offering food in many olfactories, in many places. He had established houses to offer food, to give food to those destitutes, to those people who are suffering. Since he was offering food day in, day out to all those poor men, he was called Anathapindika. After the getting connected with Buddhism, after he got to know the Buddha, Anathapindika thought, yes, feeding a poor man, feeding a hungry man is great, but it is just a one meal. But if you feed Dhamma, his entire life pattern will be changed. His entire process of samsara would be changed. Even he could be elevated to higher stages or to the liberation. So it is much better if we can share this Dhamma with the world. So he decided to build a center, kind of a headquarters for the Lord Buddha to reside and to train his disciples in his city, not in the middle of the city, no far away from the city. He found a pleasure park which was not in the midst of the marketplaces, noisy, crowded city, but not so far away. Ideal place. And this pleasure park he bought, spending millions and millions of gold coins, and he built a beautiful monastery called Jetavana Rama Monastery. After building this monastery, from all over the world, Buddha's disciples flocked here. Thousands and thousands of monks were living in this monastery. Such a huge monastery. After the opening the monastery, every day for 2,000 monks he offered dana. He had 3 daughters, Mahasubhadra, Chula Subhadra and Sumana Devi. These 3 daughters being directed by their father, supporting the millionaire, the count, to continue offering this dana to the Sangha. First his eldest daughter, Mahasubhadra, who attained to the first stage of stream entry just like her father. Anathapindika, the count, had already attained to the first stage of stream entry when he first met Lord Buddha. So his eldest daughter also followed the father, listened to the Dhamma, practiced Dhamma, and attained to this first stage of stream entry. And she was supporting the father, but after some time she got married and went away to her husband's house. Then the second daughter took over the vacancy and started helping her father. She also attained to the first stage of stream entry. And after some time she also got married, went to live with her husband. Now the third daughter, Sumana Devi. For her, the attainment is higher. She attained to the second stage of Supra Mundane path called once returner, Sakadagami. She did not get married. She was helping her father continuously. She was upright, modest, virtuous, conscientious person. She was such a kind-hearted being who was so joyful at her dana, with her generosity, with her practice of sharing. Every day, in spite of any difficulty, she was at the olfactory organizing the dana. that are being offered to thousands of monks, Buddha's disciples. And once she fell ill, she knew that her time is up. Send a message to her father to come and see her before she say goodbye. The Count rushed to her, and she was lying on the bed. The Count, Anathapindika, asked her, "What is it, my dear child, Sumana?" When she was asked this question, she replied, "My dear younger brother, what are you asking?" He is being called as the younger brother by his youngest daughter. Now, they continued their conversation, but all the while, Sumana was addressing the Count as the younger brother. What did the Count thought? Count thought, Anathapindika thought, out of fear for the death, because for many, for all of us, death is the most fearful thing. Death, where we lose everything, including our own physicality. Everything we lose, and we think we are finished. Because all what we know is the body, not something beyond that. When the body dies, we think we die. Only someone who has witnessed something eternal residing behind this temporary body, only such a person can die fearlessly. The rest of the world dies with such a great fear. And sometimes, because of this fear, one's consciousness can be confused, can lose the mind, can be utterly distracted, confused. It is a disaster. So the Count, Anathapindika, thought his youngest daughter is dying with a confused mind. He was so sad. Not because of her death, because as someone who was so well connected with the Dhamma, knew very well that the death is there, lurking behind like the shadow, hiding behind, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for the right time. The death is there all the time. Life is such a fragile, impermanent, temporary phenomena. This temporary phenomenon called life is not something going to last forever. When the death comes, this life going to terminate. Someone who is so connected with the Dhamma, connected with the Buddha, like the Count Anathapindika, knew very well death is bound to happen sooner or later. His daughter, his youngest child, is facing that death. It is not the death of her caused the misery in the heart of the Count. The way she died, confused mind. After the funeral rites, Count Anathapindika went to the Buddha. When Buddha saw him with his miserable, unhappy, sad countenance, Buddha immediately said, what happened to you? Why are you so sad? Then he said, Bhagavan, my youngest daughter, Sumana Devi, she passed away. That's why I am so sad. Buddha said, death is something bound to happen for anyone. You know very well this. You are living with the truth. You are not being blind to the truth. Death is part of the truth. Sooner or later, everybody dies. What is the point of being sad about it? Then the Count said, I am not sad about her death. I am sad because the way she died is not so good. She died with a confused mind. Buddha asked, how do you know that she died with a confused mind? Then the Count explained the conversation that had happened with her youngest child. The way she addressed him as younger brother. Surely her mind must have gone astray. Mind is not right when she died. Buddha said, no way. Her mind was perfectly all right. Her mind was perfectly connected with the truth that you are younger to her. How come? How come I can be younger to my youngest child? I am her father. Then the Buddha said, she is not talking about your physical age, whether you are her father or not. It is not what she was talking. She was talking about the spiritual age. While you are just a first stream entry, you are just an stream enterer. She is a once returner. She is on the second stage of spirituality. You are younger to her. She is older to you. That is why she addressed you as the younger brother. Then the Count asked the Buddha, now Lord, Bhagavan, where is she now? Buddha said, she took birth in the divine realm called Tusita. She is now in the Tusita, the divine realm. The Count was so happy. And he said, my daughter, when she was here among us, she was a happy person. She created happiness in many. And she rejoiced seeing of her creation of happiness. She was such a joyful person when she was here with us. And now she is in a much better, joyful place. Being connected with this expression of the Count, Buddha said, Idha nandati pecha nandati kata punyo ubhayat nandati. Idha nandati, one rejoices here. Pecha nandati, one rejoices hereafter. Kata punyo, the doer of merits, the doer of good deeds, the doer of wholesomeness. Ubhayat nandati, joyful in both the places. Punyang me katanti nandati. Also He is joyful, thinking, remembering, I have done wholesome. I have done good. That memory brings him so much of joy, so much of happiness. Now if you are to remember the good deeds that you did, that you have done in this life, at any point of your life, with your words, with your action, with your effort, with something you have, you may do something good for somebody else. Whenever you remember it, see how much joy brings them to your heart, how much happiness brings them to your heart. Every time you remember them, you also think, oh, I have done good deeds. Punyang me katanti. I have done the wholesome. I have done something good. That memory, that remembering brings you so much joy, so much happiness. And that person, bhiyo nandati, become extremely joyful, suggating gato, when he is gone to a blissful place, blissful realm, joyful place. He is utterly joyful. Doing good will never go waste. One day they will return to you. Return with interest. Return with much more power. Return with joyfulness in thousand folds. So never ever delay. Never ever lose the opportunity that offered to you to create happiness in somebody. Happiness in someone. It is so easy. If somebody says, it is not easy to do merits, I say, he doesn't know what merit is. Merit is your willingness, your heart to create happiness in others. Seeing a dying plant, you can see that plant is dying because of the lack of water. You pour some water, and later you come back, you see that plant has taken the life back. That plant is alive again. And then you know, because I poured water, I gave some water to this plant and I gave the life to this plant. Can't you be joyful? You have thousands and thousands of such opportunities. Somebody is so sad, disturbed, distressed. He is filled with unhappiness in his heart. And how about giving some of your time to give ear, to listen to the misery of that person? He doesn't need your answer. He doesn't need your solution for his problems. What he needs is somebody to listen. Somebody genuinely concerned about his well-being. To listen. And by saying his misery to you, he can be unburdened from his misery. And you can see the release. You can see what kind of happiness now that he is feeling after telling you all his burden, all his misery. Did you spend a single cent for that? No. Just a willing heart to help someone. We can just be like the trees that bloom with flowers. Just look at a rose bush. In spring, as the winter is over, it starts to come back to the life and starts blooming with beautiful flowers. Rose bush never think, oh, I am decorating this world. I am giving these flowers to the world. I am such a great tree. Others cannot be bloomed like me. No ego is manifesting in a rose bush. No contest is going on, the rose bush and the jasmine plant. Jasmine flower is so small, not big or beautiful as the rose. But whenever you are passing by a jasmine plant, the fragrance is such a pleasant, it freshen up our hearts. They never contest. Jasmine flowers never try to become roses, to become that big. Rose bush never tries to become that fragrance like the jasmine. But they equally beautify this world. It is just a sharing for them. They have so much of beauty in their hearts. They have to share. They cannot help without sharing their beauty, their fragrance with the world. Just be like them. People share what they have. If they have garbage within, they share garbage with the world, and they make the world a dustbin. Stinky garbage. If they have flowers in their hearts, they cannot share garbage with the world. They will share flowers with the world. They will share and make the world sweet-scented with their fragrance. You share what you have. So change your hearts. Change your hearts from the attitudes, from the aspects of creating others miserable, making others unhappy, to creating others happy and making others joyful. If you are willing to make others joyful, even one word of yours can create such a joy, such a happiness to others. Instead of criticizing, you will be complimenting. Instead of dragging others down, you will be uplifting others, helping others to rise. And remember, your return will be with so much of benefits. When you help someone to come up, it doesn't mean you go down. You too become elevated to greater and greater positions. No one will go down by helping somebody else to come up. It won't happen. Therefore the Buddha says, one who generates happiness in others, one who sacrifices oneself to create happiness in others, idhanandati. He will be happy here. Pechanandati. He will be happy hereafter. Ubhayattanandati. he will be happy here and hereafter. Also he becomes happy by thinking that I created happiness in others. I created positivities in others. I made wholesome energies in me. And once he is gone, once he is to be born in a better, joyful place, he will be utterly joyful, happy and blissful. A Chinese saying comes in like this: if you want to be happy for an hour, have a nap. I would say in a different way, if you want to be happy for an hour, meditate for an hour. See by the end of the hour how joyful you are, how calm and peaceful you can be. Then the Chinese saying says, if you want to be happy for a day, go fishing. Again I say, I beg the difference. I say, if you want to be happy for a day, go to a quiet place. Stay quietly, doing nothing. Just be in silence. If possible, observe precepts. Yeah? Listen to Dhamma and stay in silence. Then again the Chinese saying says, if you want to be happy for a month, get married. Then if you want to be happy for a year, if you want to be happy, inherit a fortune. Win a lottery. And go on. And it says, if you want to be happy for a lifetime, give happiness to others. More you think of giving happiness to others, creating laughter in others, laughing with others. Remember, it is not laughing at others. We are very good at laughing at others, not with others. If you create happiness in somebody else by laughing at somebody else, it doesn't work. You create misery in others to make laughter in somebody else. It doesn't work. It is about creating happiness in others and laughing with others. When it becomes your habit, when it becomes your way of living, your art of living, naturally by and by, you will find your happiness. Life will be smooth for you. Lesser the enemies, more the friends. This environment itself will be supportive to you. Whatever ill-planetary influences they say will vanish eventually. It is very simple. No need to create rules and regulations on this. Just create happiness in others. Don't use your words to trouble others, to disturb others. Don't use your words to criticize others, but to compliment others. Compliment others. Such a beautiful thing. You compliment someone and see the facial features, how happy that person is. Simple words. Your children, when they do something good, compliment them. Compliment profusely, immensely compliment them. See how they are attached to those good deeds. And when they do something bad, you criticize. Okay, you can criticize, but do you think they will ever stop those bad deeds because of your criticism? Can you make your children faultless? absolute faultless by criticizing? Impossible. Nobody can ever do that. Though you cannot make somebody faultless, mistakeless, but you can elevate, upgrade, develop the good, the beautiful, the wholesome. How? By complimenting. By complimenting, you can upgrade them. Their good qualities will be developed, though they may have the weaknesses. Compliments can be miraculous. Miracles can be generated by compliments. So don't be ever stingy to do compliments. It creates happiness in others and it changes them. And by your words you are generating merits. So with your actions, with your words, with some time, with the spending of some of your time, especially when your parents are getting older and older, they would love for you to spend some time with them. No matter how busy you are, spend some time with them. See how happy they become because of your presence, simply because of your presence. They are to talk to you. You have so much of opportunities to create merits, to generate merits. Don't lose them. And when you are continuously, every day, generating that positivity, you are to become a happy person, a joyful person, here and hereafter. Idhanandati peccanandati kata punyo ubhayat nandati punyang me katanti nandati bhiyo nandati sugatin gatoti. Here he rejoices. Having passed away, he rejoices. In both places, he who has done wholesome deeds rejoices. He rejoices thinking, I have done wholesome deeds. Gone to a state of joyful, he rejoices all the more. Esa Dhammo Sanantano. This is an eternal Dhamma. That's enough for today. Let's share all these happy, joyful thoughts that arise in your hearts, in my heart. In my heart by sharing this Dhamma, in your hearts by listening to this Dhamma, together with our departed ones, our ancestors, our forefathers, those who are dead and gone. And also together with the divine beings that protect you, that guide you. May all these devas, divine beings, and our departed ones, our ancestors, be rejoiced with our merits. Let's share merits. Akasatta cha bummatta deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu loka sasanang. Akasatta cha bummatta deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu desanam. Akasatta cha bummatta deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu mam paranti. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang me ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. idang me ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Blessings to you all. Dukkha roga bhaya vera soka sabbe upaddava anekāntarāyāpi vinassantu ca tejasa jaya siddhi dhanang labhang sotti bhagyam sukham balang siriyayu ca vanno ca bhogam uddhi ca yasava satavassājayu ca jiva siddhi bhavantu te ayurārogya sampatti sagga sampatti me vaca ato nibbāna sampatti iminate samijjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Good night, everybody.